How you doing, legends? Thanks again for watching these videos. And if you haven't checked out the podcast version yet, if you prefer just listen to the audio, then I have that on there as well. It's growing a little bit. I've got a few more people in that world as well, which is cool. So jump on that one there. But in this video, we're going to be going through my sort of top value targets if the players get their spot. And I've got it in order in each of the sections. So this is the summary video on all of the positions put together, made much easier for those that don't like to get into the weeds, but they love the information that we provide here and our sort of rankings here. This is the type of video for you. And then an update on some of the guys that I've obviously been through sort of a week ago with some, even 3 weeks ago with others there as well. You can get a good idea of where my mind's at and where you should be looking at, slotting these guys in with your side here. So look at value rankings for round one. At number one, I have Lussick or Hands. And again, guys, this is at sort of anywhere between sort of 550 down to the 400 mark, 600 down to 400 mark in some positions as the potential options in your side with the sort of guns and then the cheapies in a following video coming up in the sort of the next week there. So Lussick or Hands in there, whoever gets that 70 to 80 minute role is going to be in my team, even with sort of any of that switching risk that they might have. Like if let's just say Hands was to start, he then was to perform poorly and they bring in Lussick. I suppose with that one, you could just switch it. If it looks like that Lussick's going to be that guy going forward that's going to keep that spot, you could just switch that up because either one of these guys, whoever gets that spot, they have over 10 points of value very clearly if they can play that 70 to 80 minutes, have some 30s games, but they'll have a 50 game in there as well, which is absolutely massive at their price. Brandon Smith is the next guy on the list. He has the duel, he has the upside, obviously, and really the majority of games that he has done well has been somewhere between that 60 to 65, maybe even 70 minutes at tops there. So he, to me, has anywhere between 0 and 10 points of value. 0 if he happens to get injured or something again, or if he gets 50 minutes and then has that 10 points of value, potentially a tiny bit more if he can score some tries and get back to sort of that 65, 70 minutes unhampered and the Roosters are doing well. So there's a bit of a range there with Smithy, but at 540k, he's a pretty solid option for your side. If you don't want to go for any of the top range guys, let's just say we have to put a bit of money into centers as well, then Brandon could do a great job. In 3, I've got Daylight. I just don't see anyone in between these guys or under these guys that could do a better job in the value range, unless we do see Jacob Little, who's next on the list with close to 80 minutes. So at this point, it looks like there's going to be someone on the bench to cover a few of those minutes for Jacob. A few of those 80 minutes there that he's wanting to play, but I'd say it's going to be closer to that 60 mark. He had 54 minutes last year, so we do need him up in the 65-70 range for him to do well, that's for sure. But assume there is cover anywhere between 0 and 10 points of value, but more likely on the bottom end of that range, where Smith is more likely in the top end of that range. Aaron Clark, I've got him in there as an unknown. If he was to get the 13 role, then he could be a very interesting target. Very similar to that with Chris Randall if he was to get that position there, like he played at times last year, or he played hooker, named at hooker, ended up playing a lot of 13 there with Clark in the middle as well. But again, that was in a time where they had lots of injuries. Do they stick with Isaac Liu at 13, or does Clark get it? Someone to keep on the radar. And then Sam Verrills, he comes in last in the hooker value rankings there. He has some small value. The spot is safe, that's for sure, but anywhere between 0 and 5 points of value. Guys, I'm going to be talking about the private group now, and for that, any one of you guys that are interested, I'm also going to be doing a 10,000 subscriber giveaway to someone in the private group at random there. If we do happen to get to that 10,000 subscribers anywhere in that round 0/1 category, there's going to be some prizes in terms of some cash value, some shirt or t-shirt value, shirt or t-shirt, shirt or singlet value, and then a 20-minute video that's going to go on the channel here, going through your team ready for round 1. So if you think I can get to 10,000 subs before the start of round 1 and you want to be in the private group, that's an extra incentive to get in there because we're looking to get up to 210 entrants there for the head-to-head and the overall comp. Seeing down the bottom there, you get both of those, overall points and the head-to-head comp. Depending on how your teams go, you could win both. It is that one team entering both, guys. $49 to enter in this one. Lots of prizes. If we get that full amount of 210 people, all the way up to $5,500 in cash and prizes there. You can also input 2 teams if you like, and obviously what you're getting there is the weekly help one-on-one from myself, the group chat with lots of top tier players. You got the private Q&A session as well, and obviously all the different competitions to keep you interested across that season. So that's a private group, guys. All the details are in the description, or DM me if you have any further questions. Let's get back into the mid-tier value, guys. So you're looking at Josh Curran up top there, the dual position, very, very high chance of that lock roll. Good chance of high minutes as well. So anywhere between that 10 to 15 points value at minimum, with potential to get up to 20 if he really gets big minutes here. Spends most of the time in the middle, a tiny bit on the edge to cover like a Vil kick-out or something like that. So he's number 1 very clearly. I have Tyrrell May number 2. I just think that he has the highest potential to really dominate. Obviously a bit cheaper than a few of the guys below in Adam Elliott, in Cotter. And I think and Flegler and the like, but I think he has, as I said, that highest potential full value. With Jared Warrior-Hargraves out in round 1, that could really help Terrell, and he could play big minutes. But something also to note that I've just kind of been thinking about recently is in those finals games, they had a few injuries, obviously, and guys like Siwa Wong end up in the centers and May played some more minutes through the middle. That's why he kind of got into the 50s. But for him, we only need that 40-minute role for him to be worth it in our side. So he has the clearest upside, in my opinion. Tevita Totola, definitely some bounce back value. I don't see him going under where he's priced, and there's all the way up to 10 points of value for Tevita. It's more the question if you're pairing him with like a Cam Murray, what you're doing with Totola in round 7 when they have their bye. Adam Elliott, for him, he's finally fit. He definitely has a point to prove to the team, and he said that out loud. Big minutes is what you're going to get from him. So, a good amount of time to accumulate those points, many more minutes than a lot of these guys will get, and he should be getting the highest amount on this list, apart from potentially Jairo if he plays a lot of edge and potentially through the middle. But Elliott, I'm definitely interested in, up to 10 points of value for him. Cotter, it's the minutes, it's the discipline for him is what we need to look at, and he's the captain now, co-captain with Dearden. So I think anywhere up towards that 10 points of value, I definitely think at a minimum he has sort of 2 or 3 points of value to get to a 45, 46, and then has upside to the 50 range like he had the year before. So Cotter, definitely someone on my radar for sure. But again, it depends on where things are at with these price points and what kind of cash I have available, because I would like him. I think he's fairly safe. Tallis Duncan in 6, so the price is obviously really cool. The roll in the minutes, there's some uncertainty around that, but anywhere between 0 to 15 points of value. I've got there if he gets the edge, but I think that it's unlikely for him to get the edge at this stage. He's hardly been training there apparently, so it was a little bit of smoke and mirrors, that information we were getting at the start, a few weeks ago anyway. JR is next at 41 in 50 minutes is where he's at. Last year with 4 games under that 31 minutes, so there's some value on that. And if he was to play some edge and some middle, we know that he can be somewhere in that sort of high 40s kind of range. So 0 to 7 points of value for Jai. Not highly on my radar, but it could work out at certain points. We know he wants to play more in the middle though. And then Tommy Flegler, the 5 points value, likely as the alpha in that pack. It's simple. I just don't think it's more than 5 minutes, because you'd have to get up to 55 sort of minutes there, which I just don't think is going to happen there. Again, big thank you for watching, guys. Appreciate this, and if you can watch all the videos or at least get into the podcast, I absolutely appreciate that. It helps me out so much, so I appreciate that. The edge value, guys, rankings for round 1. So we got Wong up top. I think that if he gets the big minutes, then he is the biggest winner in this list, just based on the price point. Guys, Piakura is going to be in the Cash Cows video, given he's under 400k, but Wong definitely up there. Just at the price, really. The other guys, I think, could potentially score better, but Wong probably has more chance of making more money overall. So that's where he has that up to sort of 15 points of upside there, if he gets that spot. If he doesn't, then I think if he's on the bench, he's not even in our team. So there's a lot to ride on him, but he could be the best for sure at this stage of the season. Shawnee Bloor, I've got him at number 2. And again, it's more the likelihood of him getting that spot. He has lots of upside next to Munster there, but there is a little bit of position and minutes risk. But we know he has so much upside. He can get into the 60s and 70s in regular games, but then have some lower ones. But you did see those lower ones for him in that Tigers side were usually because of the team getting smashed, and he wasn't able to get spend much time running and tackling, obviously. Sean Lane, he's in number 3. I just think the spot and the minutes are sort of locked in for him, which is pretty cool, obviously, and why he's in there. And he's probably one of the safer plays to not lose money, and then potentially anywhere between 5 and 12 points of value, in my opinion. Definitely a solid pickup, and one I won't steer you away from. One I'm trying to avoid, but we'll see what happens in these positions here, and injuries and the like coming into the trials very shortly. Angus Crichton, he could definitely be clearly above Wong. He could be number 1 on this list if he gets the starting spot and if there's talk of him playing big minutes. So with Crichton, there's the bounce back potential is crazy. Seems like he's in a much better headspace and fitness levels, which is awesome. Anywhere from 0 to 20 points of upside for Angus Crichton, which is incredible if we do get him in that spot. But there's so many mouths to feed for that Roosters side. Faitala Mariner. So he's moved over to the Dragons now. He may be in front of sort of the below 2 now in Eisenhuth and Ryan Couchman. There's also some chat around that Dylan Egan that could be fighting for that edge as well. So there's sort of 4 or 5 guys that are fighting for that one spot, with Jaden Sewer being on the other one. If he does get the spot now, he's had injuries in the last few years. He could definitely have anywhere up to 10 points of upside. I would like to see him in the trials, and if he's named on the edge or if he's going to play a bit more middle, we'll have to wait and see on that one. With Eisenhuth, he's consistent when he gets that edge spot. There are a few tries in there, and it is Storm moving to the Dragons. So I'm getting a little bit colder on him, just because I think he does, for him to go really, really good, there's the tries that are needed. But if he has close to 80 minutes in him, he's a slam dunk. If it's 60 minutes, it's a bit of a maybe, and he'll make a little bit, but not enough. So he's down at 6. Seems like Ryan Couchman is below that, unfortunately, there. Definitely some potential, but he's unseen in the NRL on the edge, and they've signed for Talamarina. There's a lot of guys here that could potentially nab that spot. He hasn't been spoken about by coach, whereas Dylan Egan has. So, is he behind Dylan Egan as well? Dylan Lucas, I'm moving him down the pecking order, unfortunately. He has keeper scores. I wish that he's the guy that we select in there. I just don't think he gets the 80 minutes now with Kai Pearce-Paul looking likely to actually play in the trials, which then he could at least get a bench spot or could start in round 1, which would be very, very hurtful to Lucas's chances of dominating in the NRL this year. And then I've got Schuster last, and it's just I want to keep him down there. I'm going to be against him. He's the one guy this year I think I'm against, that a lot of people actually have in their side, and we just need to see it. I clearly need to see him in the trial. If he's looking fit, if he's looking well, if he does get the start in round 1, he's someone that we looked at. I will look at getting in my side, but at this point, there's just so much noise around him. The chicken pox, the finger injury, the calf strain again that he had last year. There's so much there, and we're hoping that he gets back to his previous success. I just think it's pot luck for him at this point. And when I wrote this, he was unlikely to get the spot. It seemed like Trebojevic was more of a chance, but does seem like Schuster will play a trial. So may have to change that slightly. But again, we'll leave him down there until proven otherwise. The half value rankings, guys. So we've got Sean O'Sullivan and Luke Brooks. For O'Sullivan, he's a little under keeper level, which I think is the annoying part and why you probably don't want to take him in your side. Anywhere between 2 and 7 points of value. Could do a job for you, but could also not. Luke Brooks, plenty of upside if Manly are rolling. For sure, he could be a 50-plus guy on the regular basis. He is fairly expensive already. So anywhere between 0 and 7 points of value. Just a little bit of an annoying one because we are unsure how he could go. Could definitely be some upside. Could definitely stay the same or have a little bit of downside. We move to the centers now, guys. And Jesse Ramian there. He's at the top of my list, actually, as a cracking starter. In this sort of value range, you got Penasini's and the like in the guns. We've already spoken about them. So Jesse Ramian, highest chance of making money and having a hot start, I believe, in this list. So really, given he's priced a bit higher than these guys, that's where the chance of more consistent higher points is going to come from. But overall with him, the slightly easier draw for the Sharkies. We know he's on a great side with Nico Hines, with Nickera on that side as well. And he can have boom games like he did in sort of round 3 or something like that. He had a 70 last year. He could do that again for sure and sort of make you anywhere close to that 80K mark, which he fluctuated up to last year and then fluctuated down as well. So he definitely has some risk, but they all have some risk in this section. Dean Mariner, I'm actually going to still slot in number 2 because if he gets that wing spot, he's in a really good team. The Broncos do have a slightly tougher start, but in the hot takes video, I said he'll get up to a really, really solid price at some point. And he might start poorly if we do start with him, and then he'll make money at some point. So is it round 1 that he starts doing well, or is it a further round down the track, sort of from round 4 or 5 onwards, that he makes the money? So dual position's good team, plenty of talent. He could be a guy that starts well. Bailey Simonson, he's got the dual as well with the Eels. There's a good chance that he makes that team, and he has some small value for sure, likely in an improving team. As I said, with that dual as well is super important. Anywhere between 3 to 8 points of value with Bailey, I think, in a team that will likely improve, as I said. Jake Averillo, I think he has 2 chances to improve. Obviously, it looks like he's moving. He won't be on the right. He's going to be on the left more than likely, which is that right side is scary with Felice Kafusi and then Herbie Farnworth and Jermaine Asako on that right side. It's more just that half position. Does Katoa get it? Does Nikorima get it? There's a few question marks around that one, but that right side's great. And the worry now is Averillo on the left. Positives I see with it is that he's moving to obviously a better team, likely a better attacking team that we could see. Their backline's really, really strong and likely to be on Sean O'Sullivan's side, and also, if he's fit, Connolly Lemuelu, which was strong last year. He was running through gaps, and there was space to be had on that left hand side last year. We saw UNA can score pretty well there as well. So something to note with Averillo, that he could just stay the same, but he could have some value on that as well. Buying round 3 is a bit of a tough one. Moses Sully, he just has the bounce back upside. If the team's just okay, even the same or slightly better, then that could help him out. There's some bounce back with some try scoring for sure. There could be on him, and then just the consistency that he needs to get back to, which he did the 2 years prior in a row, which is cool. Marion Seve, I've dropped him down the list just because I think that if he's in this team, he's the safest guy for points in this range. If you want consistency, he's fairly expensive though, and it sounds like he's still fighting for a spot. It could be Remus Smith and Nick Meaney, so Seve might not make the side, or he has a little bit of a risk on that. But when he plays, he's the consistent guy on this list. And then Jojo Fafita, he's got the dual, he's got the upside. The buy around 2 hurts. I've just got him in last because I did see him having up to 7 points of value if he got the start for sure. And then to finish things off, guys, the wing fullback value. Again, thank you for being here and watching all these videos. Ryan Pappenhausen has the highest upside, clearly, far and away, 8 to 18 points of value. You just get him in your side if he's named there in round 1. If you're kicking goals, even better. Jaden Campbell has the second highest upside, in my opinion, the buy in round 2. So you got to sort out that wing fullback position with one bit of cover, I think, given that Campbell's got the buy round 2, Pap's got the buy in round 4. Something you need to look at, but second highest upside for him, anywhere between 8 to 13 points of value, I see very clearly. Jacob Kiraz is next. I think that if he gets that spot in the centers, then he has the best points to value ratio, and we'll have center dual as well, which would be awesome. Exactly what you need to slot between center and wing fullback, which all of the other guys on this list will not have, except for Selwyn Cobbo, who we'll speak about next. And in the new position, could he get Herbie numbers? There's a few more question marks on Cobbo, given he hasn't played in that center position. Been dominating on the wing. So how's he go in that left center role? I think he'll be good, but I want to wait and see personally, with a fairly tough draw to kick things off for them. And then Connor Tracy, if he's at fullback, I see up to 5 points of value. Clearly for him, if it's at the centers, he moves from the Sharks to the Dogs, so no improvement in team there. And I think he'll miss out on dominating, whereas he could at fullback do a lot better. Tom Jenkins at number 6, one of the cheapest on this list. Can he be consistent and improve? He has anywhere between 0 to 9 points of value. Mike Acevo there could definitely bounce back, and he could have up to 9 points of value as well. So this is where we're at currently, guys. I'm making this on Tuesday, dropping the video on Thursday here. So if anything changes, I'll let you know in the sort of pinned comment down below. But as I said, guys, jump in the description. There's all of our, the league is in there as well. So our community league, jump in that. The link for the Discord is in there as well. And then obviously all the private group details. I'll do the timestamps for each section there as well, which would be really cool. But thanks again for being in this value video. I know this will be kind of a bigger one and something to help you out with creation of your team. At this point, guys, try to look to have anywhere between sort of that 50 to 60% of your team made up, and leaving space for, I suppose, the center position, maybe the hooker position, as we don't know yet, unless you're locking in a Harry Grant, and then sort of a lot of the cheapies. So that would sort of leave you about 40% of your team to go, and can make some decisions when we find out some more information in trials. And my analysis on that, obviously, usually after for the second trials team lists are named, we will know a lot more about teams, where they're going to be at. The predicted team list from that point on seem to be fairly correct, and there will likely be an injury or three in those trials across all 17 teams. It's just inevitable. It just always happens, and that could change things in your teams as well. So don't go locking in your sides at this point. Keep it fluid, keep it ready to change and ready to go. And I can't wait to watch those trials. It starts next Thursday, which is going to be awesome. So a little bit over a week now, which is great. Thanks again for being in here. Join the Discord, all the good stuff, and we'll catch you in the next video.